This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
There it is. Hey, everybody. It is the After Party live on Hide in Your Cave Monday. And today we're looking at caves where you can dine. Restaurant caves. There are a lot of them around, and we'll take a look at some of them. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being here. Again, apologies for the late start. And aloha to you, Yvonne. Yvonne also writing, so sad to hear about Charlie, Mark's cat. He mentioned it during the show, and then he also sent out some posts on it over the weekend. I know he's really upset over it. But speaking of animals that are not surviving, let's talk about Jackie, because I just mentioned this on the Mark Thompson show, and I thought maybe we could talk about it here as well. Oops, now for some reason my pictures are gone, and I don't know why. I have a picture of Jackie though, and let me see if I can't pull it up. There's my coffee frog. All of a sudden, everything went haywire, and I'm not sure why. What's this one? Nope, that's not it. That's not it. There's my coffee frog. I swear I had a picture of Jackie in here, and then for some reason, all my pictures went away. This is the worst. Oh no. Well, I'm sorry. I have to log back in and log back on, see if that helps it. Because this show is so picture heavy, and I think some of the reasons I pick the stories I do are because of amazing photos. And here, okay, I'm finally back with my pictures. Sorry, it stressed me out for just a minute there. Yeah, some sad news about Jackie today. One of the two birds that we have been watching for, I want to say, at least 3 years, maybe even longer, has passed away. It's been an absolute joy to see Jackie and Shadow, the pair of eagles, bald eagles in Big Bear, that were on the live cam, raise their young, to watch their eggs, the pipping, the hatching, to go through that with them, to see the success and the life going on there in the forest at the edge of the lake. Here I have it. Here's one of the last pictures taken of Jackie. And to kind of go through it with them, you know? So to have something like this happen I think it affects a lot of people. So what we know is that her blood levels were not good. Over the weekend, the Ojai Raptor Center sent out a couple of messages saying things were not going well for her. And now we know that her health continued to deteriorate, and she died, I think, late last night or early this morning, in the early hours of Monday morning. The Ojai Raptor Center putting out a statement that it is with profound sadness we share that Jackie passed away in the early hours of this morning following more than 3 weeks of intensive medical care. They have been detailing everything they have done and all of her setbacks. She had anemia. She had some kind of mystery illness. Her packed cell volume, blood levels kept dropping below average. She had a blood transfusion. And despite all of that care, she just kept getting worse and worse and worse. She remained critically ill, receiving oxygen therapy, supportive treatment, round-the-clock monitoring in the bird ICU. And her condition just kept deteriorating. So she did not survive. Her remains have been transferred into the care of the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. They originally took her in because of some type of fight that she had with a couple of subadult eagles. And perhaps she was sick before that and we just didn't know it. Or maybe this fight touched something off. We don't know. The Friends of Big Bear Valley estimate that Jackie lived about 14 years. We know that she mothered several eaglets to fledgling: Simba, Spirit, Sunny, Gizmo, and then the two most recent eaglets, Luna and Sandy, all the names picked by students at the near Big Bear Elementary School. The stressful part of this whole thing is, I mean, as sad as it is, people are pulling threats, I guess, or putting in threats against the Ojai Raptor Center. So they put out a statement asking them to treat the staff with kindness. I get that people are upset and hurt and angry because, people love animals. And it's been amazing to watch these two eaglets, or two eagles, I should say, and their eaglets. But I have to think that the people working at the Ojai Raptor Center, their life is all about trying to save animals and save birds. I'm sure they wanted success for Jackie, so that people are getting angry with them. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But that's the latest update, sad as it may be. Yeah, she had some beautiful birdie babies, said Mindy. She sure did. She sure did. Love the Wild Animal Rescue Center, says Zero Sum. Not cool at all. They tried. Yeah, it is ridiculous, Ms. Organic says. Ridiculous. Zero Sum says, I've spent a lot of time around Big Bear Lake, hiking, jogging, right where Jackie and the bald eagle lived, and I know that tree line area well. Ms. Organic writes, I'm also very thankful for the pair to help preserve the land from development, which benefits so many more animals around the generations. Yeah, that's one of the most wonderful recent developments, is that because of the notoriety that Jackie and Shadow brought to this area, that whole zone right in their nest area, that section of the lake that had been slated for development, is being preserved as an open natural space. So, all right, we'll move on to the coffee frog. I wish I could say it was a happier story, but at least we know now that the coffee frog exists, and because we know it, maybe something can be done to save it. The coffee frog is facing risks from farm pesticides. It's this tiny greenish nocturnal frog, and it lives at coffee plantations. It was discovered in Costa Rica's Central Pacific region, but because it lives on coffee plantations, it's facing risks from agrochemicals that are used in farming. It's also known as the spring frog, in addition to being known as the coffee frog. And it was first noticed in San Lorenzo de Tarrazú in Costa Rica, a new species of tree frog for science endemic to Costa Rica. It's less than 4 centimeters long, so tiny little guy. It was first observed in the 1960s, but incorrectly identified as another species. And then it was rediscovered and confirmed in 2021 through genetic and morphological studies. The coffee frog species has another distinctive trait. The males have translucent throats that inflate with a short, high-pitched call, and at night, when they're most active, you can hear them singing perched on the coffee shrubs. The frogs seek out shade and moisture and food in the crops, but they're not after the coffee berries. They feed on small insects in that habitat. But pesticide use on coffee plantations is putting these coffee frogs at risk. These poisons, according to scientists, travel through the air, they seep through the soil, and that is where they enter the aquatic systems where the tadpoles develop. The species facing other threats, including waste dumping, increased tourism, the loss of vegetation due to the invasion of protected areas as well. So now that we know these little coffee frogs are around, perhaps better care can be taken. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sure the giant farms that use the pesticides will continue to do so. I'm glad that Coachella Valley Coffee gets their coffee from all organic farms, and it makes me think that there are organic farms where maybe the coffee frog can thrive and survive. It sure is cute, though. I have another animal story I wanted to share with you, and this one is about dogs. And we know that dogs are perceptive and smart, but here's a story about how dogs can distinguish between fearful and angry or sad human faces. It's kind of not a surprise to me because it has always seemed like, and I've had two dogs in my life, Charlotte, the golden retriever, who is the current resident of the house, and Zoe, who was our gorgeous Siberian husky that we had before we had kids. And Zoe's no longer with us. But in both cases, it really seemed like these dogs could perceive human emotion. They knew when you were sad or having a bad day and offered extra comfort. They could feel happy, right? They know when you're happy to see them or giving them some type of praise. Their tail starts wagging. You're in a good mood, they're in a good mood. They know when you're angry because they kind of back away from you, right? Especially if it's something they did. So it's not a surprise to me, and probably not to many of us, that dogs can tell our scared, our angry, our sad human faces apart. They tested it by showing dogs different faces, different human facial expressions. This one of the co-authors of this study from the University of Vienna says there were previous behavioral studies done showing dogs could tell apart some human facial expressions, but the studies tended to only test two at a time, one positive face, one negative face. And so, because of that, it wasn't clear to scientists whether dogs could distinguish different types of happy or unhappy faces. So, enter this study, right? Now they say the information reveals dog brains can not only distinguish happy faces from other expressions, they can tell apart different negative expressions, distinguishing fearful faces from those that are angry or sad. They can distinguish between emotions from the same valence. They don't have a particular region of the brain devoted to processing faces, according to researchers, but they say it doesn't mean the brain activity pattern is the same for the front and back of the head. Information about this study is in the journal iScience. And they trained these dogs to voluntarily lie still while they're awake and unrestrained in the MRI scanner, which those are some trained dogs right there. They gave 8 dogs a visual of happy faces, 5 sets of neutral faces. Each contained 4 photos of humans that were unfamiliar to the dog, but were of the same gender as their primary caregiver. And it was repeated 5 times for each dog. And the researchers say the results revealed increased activity in certain parts of the brain when the dogs were shown happy faces compared with neutral ones. The areas of the brain associated with higher visual processing, social processing, and reward processing, suggesting the dog was processing something positive. And the results raised another question. We don't know, they write, if these regions are related to just happy faces or emotional faces in general. So they did a second MRI experiment involving 12 dogs, each shown new sets of unfamiliar male and female human faces with 4 different expressions: happy, sad, fear, anger. The researchers used the machine learning to analyze activity in the same brain regions identified in the first experiment, revealing such activity could distinguish happy faces from each negative expression. They could not distinguish between different types of unhappy face. But they say when the team analyzed activity in the whole dog brain, they found it was possible to distinguish between sad and fearful faces versus angry and fearful faces. They saw it in different activity in different parts of the brain. Isn't that interesting? Again, not that we didn't know that, right? Because you can kind of tell, you kind of feel it, how intuitive they are. Guess what they found? It's an old bottle of Guinness, 162 years old. They found it on a shipwreck off the coast of England, and they think it might actually be drinkable. This diver who found a 162-year-old bottle of Guinness in a shipwreck off the coast of England decided to contact scientists who might be able to recreate this 1864 version of the stout. There was an underwater photographer from Belgium exploring a shipwreck off the coast of Dover last year. He came back up with a bottle of beer, rinsed off the bottle, discovered it was Guinness from 1864. It looked like it came from a case of 24, and there might be more cases in that area. So he's going to go back down to the shipwreck when conditions are better to try to recover more bottles. The scientists are at the university in Belgium, the KU Leuven University. They're now looking into whether they can recreate the exact recipe that is this 162-year-old version of Guinness. They say there's always a chance we can recover the complete DNA, and then we can do a small rebrew of the exact beer found in the 1860s. And they think the stout inside this bottle might still be drinkable. If it was stored upside down, that it may have prevented any seawater from entering. The air bubbles caused when the bottle is upside down create some kind of pressurized seal. So there's a possibility that it's still drinkable. If the seawater came into the bottles through the corks, then no. But if not, then it still could be good. Diver says he would be willing to sample the aged brew if it is found to be drinkable. The Guinness archive team is now liaising with the divers to get more information and evaluate the find. They said discoveries like this provide a fascinating window into our past, this is a Guinness spokesperson, and help build a deeper understanding of our heritage. Oh, interesting. There's another shipwreck where these were found. Kind of hard to see. You know those kind of ceramics with, they're like a vase with two handles on each end of a long neck? They're called amphora. 500 of them were found in a Roman shipwreck off the coast of Italy. 2,100-year-old vessel, hailed as one of the most important underwater archaeological discoveries of recent years, found. 500 amphorae have been discovered 3 miles off the coast of Mazzara del Vallo in Sicily. The Cultural Heritage Protection Team in Italy investigated the wreck. They got a tip-off from fishermen in the area. This vessel was found at a depth of 151 feet, and it had hundreds of these ceramic jars with this narrow neck. And most of these were thought to have been used to transport wine. The wreck is about 21 meters long, 6 meters wide. It offers precious fragments of Italy's history and further evidence of the trade routes and exchanges that made the Mediterranean a crossroads of civilization. They said the visibility wasn't the best when the divers went down, but as they got closer and closer, they could see. Amazing. A vast expanse of amphorae. They said it's without a doubt the most incredible discovery. Hard to describe what it feels like to be among the first humans in nearly 20 centuries to see this place again. So most of the ship's cargo had Dressel 1A amphora, or amphorae, widely used to transport wine. And Archaeologists say that's pretty valuable because they can help reconstruct the commercial networks that linked Italy with other parts of the Mediterranean between the 2nd and 1st centuries BC. Over the next few months, the Sicily Superintendency of the Sea will be carrying out a new phase of scientific documentation research at this site. They're going to try to more precisely date the wreckage, the origin, and the intended destination of the cargo, and look into the condition of the surviving material. The discovery is the latest in a series of Roman shipwrecks found in Italian waters. There was another one a couple of years ago, dating from the 2nd century BC. That was 92 meters beneath the sea. And it also had a large cargo of wine amphorae. They put an underwater robot down to look at that. So interesting. Look at them all just sitting there for more than 2,000 years. Just wow. Well, that's looking down. How about we look up? Because we're going to see the Perseids this week, actually. The night of August 12th into August 13th, that overnight. And apparently this year it's going to be really, really good viewing conditions because the moon will not get in our way. The moon will be in its darkened new moon phase, so it won't crash the party. And we'll be able to see speedy, bright shooting stars. The Smithsonian Magazine quotes an astronomer, Aparna Venkatson of the University of San Francisco, who says, "New moon means we won't have the moonlight flooding the sky and you tend to see way more meteors as a result." So the Perseids are, we know, one of the best meteor showers for viewers in the Northern Hemisphere. They're known for their fireballs. These are meteors that outshine Venus, and they leave a glowing trail as they blaze across the sky. They also tend to be more colorful than most showers because of different chemical elements. So you get the blues and oranges, yellows, greens from calcium, silicon, iron, nickel, magnesium. It's what makes the Perseids special. During the peak, August 12th into the 13th, you could see as many as 50 to 100 meteors per hour if the viewing conditions are just right. So that's minimal light pollution, cloudless skies. The American Meteor Society estimates the rate will probably be closer to 30 to 50 per hour. They zip by at a rate of 37 miles per second. So they're moving fast. Again, that's just a couple days, August 12th to the 13th. Maybe make a late summer Perseid viewing plan. There is a new app. And it's interesting, speaking of looking up, because this app is supposed to get you off of your devices. It's an ornithological app, a way to get yourself interested in birds. There's a 1,000 bird species. The birds recorded between the United States and Canada, and those in the waters found up to 200 miles offshore, that an artist in Northern California, his name is Keith Hansen, he's in Bolinas, has been drawing for this app. When this app is finished, it will complete the visual backbone of Flock. And I don't mean Flock like the cameras that are license plate readers. No. Flock is an app. And instead of trying to monetize users, it uses elements of computer gaming and social networking to draw people outward into the world of birding and trying to cultivate a community of conservationists. So it's an app created by a bunch of guys in Marin County. One of them was the lead product designer at Amazon. So these guys are techie. They all share a passion for birds and birding. And so here they go with this new app, Flock, to spark this conversation and get people interested in birds and restoring habitats in your local area, maybe even just in your yard, a park in your neighborhood. They say when you start to notice things and birds, you think, well, how can I help? And that could be providing water, providing food, providing shelter, restoring the habitat in your region. So the Flock app begins. I don't think it's up yet. I think they're still working on it. Yeah. Nope. They released the Flock on Apple's App Store today. They say there's about 1,000 people on there. But if you like birds, if you're interested in that, check out the Flock Bird app. Again, different than the license plate reader cameras. All right, shall we head up to our caves? Because it is Hide in Your Cave Monday. And here we go. Away we go. So many good caves. This is a Hide in Your Cave Monday that will allow you to have a dining experience underground in cave restaurants. The first one on the list is called The Cave. It's by Chef Ryan Clift, and it's in Bali, a culinary hideaway inside a 25,000-year-old underground cave at the edge of Bali. 22 seats with warm golden light that accentuates the grandness of the cave and its magnificent rough features. It's an acclaimed restaurant. So good food, really interesting surroundings. You've got the option of a 7-course or a 10-course menu, which showcases modern gastronomy with wine, cocktail pairing options. And between courses, the diners are kept entertained by 3D projection shows on the stone walls, telling the rich history of the cave. Ooh, that's interesting. Here's the next one. Ooh, that's beautiful. We are going to the Grotto Palisese. Yes, please. I would like to go to the Grotto Palisese. It's a beautiful view of the ocean while you're also underground in this amazing cave. It's in the historical center of Polignano a Mare on Italy's southern Adriatic coast. It's the Grotta Palisese Hotel restaurant, and it's set in this giant natural cave. The entrance, as you can see, overlooks the deep blue water of the Adriatic Sea. Inside, it's white tablecloth dining, warm lighting, soft lit candles. It's intimate, it's cozy, yet an elegant dining experience. You have to make reservations here well in advance. The next one is called Ali Barber's Cave Restaurant. This one is super cool. Well, they're all kind of super cool. Look at that. This is a unique spot. They think this cave is between 120,000 and 180,000 years old. It has a series of interlocking chambers, and the cave was kept as it was discovered, with only a few halls slightly transformed to house dining areas and a kitchen. Here's Here's a look at this cave during the day, and this is at night. Almost looks like a whole different place, totally transformed with golden hues and the help of candles throughout the space. If it's a good weather day, you can spot glittering stars from your dining table because of large natural holes in the cave's ceiling that allow you to look upward toward the sky. I would say in this case, I mean, hopefully they have good food, but who cares? It's beautiful. The next one is in Mexico. It's called La Gruta. Here's La Gruta. Here's another shot of La Gruta. Super pretty. A short distance away from Teotihuacan, this Mexican archaeological site in the northeast of Mexico City, La Gruta is an underground restaurant located inside a volcanic cave. It opened in 1906, and the restaurant serves up traditional fare drawn from pre-Hispanic culinary heritage. It's a fun, eclectic vibe because of the interior space that has all this colorful furniture. They have multicolored lights and candles. There's even a children's play area in this cave. It's a very popular restaurant, and so you have to make reservations in advance. The next one is called El Mesón de la Cava. It's inside a natural limestone cave created millions of years ago by waves across the coastal cliffs of the Dominican Republic. Here's El Mesón de Cava. Don't you want to find a cave to go have dinner in tonight? So interesting. To get here, you have to descend a 12-meter spiral staircase through an entry carved into a cliff and walk through ancient fig trees to get to this restaurant. And once you're in, it's Caribbean delicacies, international delights, refreshing cocktails, premium wine at El Mesón de la Cava. Here's another picture of it. I don't know if those drawings on this cave wall were there or if they were put there. I don't know. Here's the next one. It's called the Cavern Grotto. The Cavern Grotto is about 200 feet below the Earth's surface in the Grand Canyon. It's on this wooden dining platform built into and overlooking a 345 million year old cavern system. There's only room for a handful of tables, about a dozen people. Meals served here include American classics like burgers, melts, chicken, and steak. There's a time limit. You can only stay 90 minutes for lunch, 2 hours for dinner. They don't want you to linger too long because of the fascinating setting. You're in and you're out. A tour of the cavern system included with the purchase of a meal at the grotto. Visitors travel via an elevator 21 stories from an inn to various underground attractions. This is right off Route 66. And the last one I have to show you is back in Italy. This is a bit different. It's called Da Pancrazio. It's in Rome. And it's different from the seaside cave restaurant we saw earlier. This one holds historical and cultural value. It's built into a stunning vault just off one of the city's main squares, Campo di Fiori. And it's built over the first century ruins of the Theater of Pompeii, which allegedly is where Julius Caesar was murdered in 44 BCE. This restaurant opened in 1922. It was featured in the movie Eat, Pray, Love. It has this historical Roman decor, art, and furnishings. And there it is, Da Pancrazio in Rome, Italy. And that, my friends, is Hide in Your Cave Monday. I don't know which restaurant I'm more drawn to right now. This one was pretty good. Although I think this one pulls me. This one calls to me. I don't know. So interesting, though. All right. I have, and that, by the way, was, there it is, Had in Your Cave Monday. I saw these beautiful pictures, and I know it's not good for our audio podcast, but they held this competition, the International Aerial Photographer of the Year Award. And these pictures are so stunning that I wanted to show them to you. And if you're listening via audio podcast, it might be worth popping over to YouTube and checking out this portion of the show, because these pictures are super amazing. There's 15 of them. And here's number one. This picture is thousands of migratory birds all feeding at once. For a few months of the year, a large number of Siberian seagulls migrate to various parts of India. The birds start coming there in November, and they move out in mid-March. And the activity, their feeding activity, continues all morning. The photographer here, Azim Kohn Roni, who has won the 2026 International Aerial Photographer of the Year Award. Really beautiful. Here's another winner. This one, Vitaly Goltavatyuk, taking home first place for aerial photograph of the year for the single image taken at Elk Park, which is in China. Here's the picture. You can see this one lone bird in the middle of this waterway. After several days exploring the area, during sunrise and sunset, the photographer says, I spotted this bird on a tiny lake surrounded by red grass. The clarity of the sky's reflection creates a striking illusion, as if the bird is suspended weightlessly in the air. This is another really cool picture. Look at this one. Amazing. It's a complete rainbow, an entire circle, while shooting the amazing seas off the northern eastern coast of Sardinia. The photographer was suddenly caught in a rain shower at sunset and says magic happened in front of my disbelieving eyes. Paolo Lazzarati, another 2026 International Aerial Photographer of the Year Award. That's spectacular. You know they happen. These complete circular rainbows. Don't get to catch them very often. This one might be a familiar sight to most of us. For me, this is the sight of home. If you travel somewhere and you fly over it or you drive back over it, to me, you see the Golden Gate Bridge and it means you're home. Maybe it's just a North Bay thing. I don't know. But this is a perfectly framed shot from one of the upper towers of the Golden Gate, framed by its own iconic steel suspension cables overlooking the San Francisco Bay at dawn. Marcin Zojak takes this picture. Next one is called Thunder of Hooves. Look at that. It's amazing. A sunset at Cappadocia. Horses surging across a dusty plateau. Raised by villagers released to roam free, the horses embody the resilience and tradition, moving like a river of fire beneath the fading Anatolian sky. That's incredible. Photographer Ko Wai Lin. Next picture of a southern right whale and her baby. How cute is that? Humpback whales commonly travel past this area in the winter, but southern right whales are a little more rare. This mother and calf came very close to Budgewoi Beach, Rested in the shallows just behind the surf break for half the day. Neil Vincent taking this picture. The next one's called Steam Eruption. Wow. That's incredible. View of a volcano from up above. An active volcanic crater in Iceland, erupting while engulfed by steam caused by a sudden torrential rainfall. Jaron von Nieuwenhove taking that shot. Here's an oryx walking on a dune, and you wouldn't think that would be as magical as it is. Super pretty. Taken from a helicopter in the Namib Desert, Namibia. Late afternoon, sunset was beautiful, illuminating the dunes with a golden color and amazing shadow lines. The single oryx was walking down the dunes with its shadow and its footprints. Photo taken by Zheng Zhu. Next picture is called Tumbling White Horse. Almost looks like a unicorn, right? The photographer, Fabio Popolatera, says, I was riding in northeast Italy, catching some stills of wonderful white horses, when suddenly this one rolled over to scratch his back, raising the dust, and I froze this epic moment forever. This one is called The Eye of a Pen. It does look like an eye. The Sorrente crater is hidden in Abruzzo, a pristine, mysterious place surrounded by intriguing theories. It's believed to have a meteoric origin. If this hypothesis is confirmed, this image captures the only impact crater lake in Italy. Valeria Castiello taking that shot. The next one is called Family Outing. It's a herd of elephants setting out in search of breakfast in the Serengeti. The shot taken while flying in a hot air balloon over this herd. Sampa Reddy taking this one. Family Outing. Here's one called Dawn Net, taken by Chin Long Tio. Beautiful. Bali's rice terraces cascade down the hillsides in vivid green steps shaped by centuries of careful irrigation. Here, 4 ladies with a dog work the fields in a line, moving steadily through the paddies as they tend the young rice plants. This next one is the colors. Hard to believe these colors form in nature, but how beautiful is that? This is in, I believe, is it Yellowstone? Grand Prismatic Spring is what it's called. Wayne Montag taking this one. He said, recently my wife and I found an aviation company in the Yellowstone area willing to fly us over the Grand Prismatic Spring right in a Cessna 172. And it was quite a challenge to photograph from the plane, but well worth the effort. A photo from my bucket list. Incredible. This next one is called Frozen Halut. Look at that. The seals are resting on a frozen lagoon in Iceland, gathered around a narrow crack of open water that gives them access between the ice surface and the sea below. Marco DeMarco taking this one. And I think this might be the last one on the list. It's called Olympus. Olympus. Wild Horse Butte in the high desert of Utah. David Saldano taking this picture. Get the striations of color on the rock. So beautiful. Anyway, I wanted to share those breathtaking pictures with you, those images of our world that can do nothing but uplift us. 2026 Aerial Photographer of the Year Awards, making us feel a little better about the planet, I think. All right. Oh, I have one more story for you guys. Una más. And this is the lotto of the day. Here it is. It's another one of these amazing stories about a gut feeling. Just something telling you, time to buy that ticket. This one out of Maryland, where a man said he followed his gut instinct about a certain scratch-off lottery ticket. Ends up winning $100,000. The man said he stopped at the Wawa store, bought a bingo scratch-off ticket, which is his favorite game, and a scratch and match ticket. That was the one that set off his intuition. He said some tickets call out to you. Well, it was something about that scratch and match game that drew me to it. He's scratching off the ticket at home later when he revealed 2 stacks of cash instant win symbols and soon realized each was a $50,000 prize. He said, I was shocked when I saw the first 50,000 and blown away when I saw the other. A scan that the local lottery retailer confirms he and his wife had won $100,000. He says the prize money will go toward paying bills and helping his family. That's the lotto of the day. Speaking of the lottery, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but the next jackpot for the Powerball is $905 million, which is kind of annoying because it's not really $905 million. It's, if you take the cash lump sum, which who doesn't, right? It's less than $400 million, which is still a great prize. Don't get me wrong, but it's not $905 million. Anyway, might be worth playing if you partake. That is the After Party Live for today. Huge thank you to everyone who has spent time here hanging out, sent stories in, and contributes to this show. You are all appreciated for the various ways that you make this show happen. Really, really grateful. The show has a PayPal account, which you can find the information for in every day's show description and in the About tab. The most recent contributors to this show include Wes from Florida, woohoo! Susan S., Deidre L., Chris H., Kathy O. Thank you, thank you, thank you for contributing to the show and keeping it all rolling right along. Really, really nice. Also, Glenn throwing down 2 Australian bucks. He says, I didn't forget today. Glenn, you're so appreciated. And you're such an amazing carpenter. I don't know if you've been following Glenn's kitchen remodel, which she's doing most of herself. Super amazed. By the way, Glenn is taking us on another excursion to find kangaroos this Friday. So I'm really looking forward to that. Thank you, Glenn, for the contribution. And in comes Luis with the 5, inspired by Glenn. Kim, he says, get yourself a couple of Powerball tickets. Keep the party going and live. Thank you so much. Luis, I will do exactly that. Who knows? Might be winner chicken dinner. The dream is alive. Thanks, Luis. And thank you, everybody, for hanging out here on the After Party. Tomorrow, the amazing David K. Johnston will join us on the Mark Thompson Show. That happens, the show starts at 11:30, but David K. Johnston will join us right about noontime. So, going to be good. And also, today we had June Carbone on the program. Tomorrow, her husband, Dr. Bill Black, will come in. He wrote the book, The Best Way to Own a Bank is to Rob One, or The Best Way to Rob a Bank is to Own One, I think is the book. He's an economist, professor of law and economy, teaches a really interesting class on crypto, and he's a wonderful guest. So please join us tomorrow for the Mark Thompson Show. And I will see you tomorrow as well. But between now and then, make it the very best rest of your Monday. Bye, everybody.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.